Before you fall in love with a new construction home here in Southwest Florida, there are 5 things you need to know because the biggest buyer regrets here are not always just about the home. I'm Brittany Mixon, a local real estate agent in Southwest Florida. I help relocation buyers all the time, and the number one thing I tell them is that you're not just buying a home, you're buying a lifestyle, a commute, and a daily routine. So let's get into it. First, how big is this community actually going to become? Because there is a big difference between a small community and a large master plan development with thousands of homes. Some people love the big developments. That means they have more amenities and more social events. Others want the small and more quiet neighborhoods. But nobody mentions that when you live in these large communities, the construction is actually going on for many years. You have a lot of construction traffic, noise, dirt, and new phases opening up all the time. Are you okay with that? Or is that something you don't want and you want the smaller communities where maybe they're only in there for a couple years and they're not there for 5 to 7 years? And what about resale? Because when you buy into these communities that are so large, resale becomes a factor, because if they take 5 to 7 years to build out a community or more, you're competing with the builder. And listen, things happen and life changes and you can still sell. But when you compete with a builder and a community that's so large, you have to compete with their builder incentives, their rate buy downs, their pricing, and it can become very difficult. Second, are you going to use the amenities? Because a lot of the new amenities in these big neighborhoods are very large and they have all these different resort style amenities between restaurants, large pools, indoor pickleball courts. Obviously we have golf course communities and so much more. But with that also comes fees, and the fees can be more extensive in these neighborhoods because there's so much that they're giving you. However, some people maybe don't want that. They don't want the large amenities. They want the smaller community. They want the lower HOA fees, because when you live in these big communities, it starts to add up. And some people feel like it's worth it because to them, they did buy into the lifestyle. They do want the vacation lifestyle every single day and they're okay with that. But some people, they don't want that. They just want the small community. Maybe they have their own pool. They don't have a community pool with all the amenities, and they have the smaller community to help keep their costs lower every single month. So really, before you buy into any neighborhood, all you need to ask yourself is, am I going to use the amenities? Is this something that I'm actually going to do every day? Or is it just a dream and I think I want to live this vacation lifestyle, but in reality, I actually don't want to pay for it? Third, what is the actual timeline? This one is super important, especially if you're thinking about potentially buying new construction and building from the ground up, but you're also relocating here and you need somewhere to stay in between. Because here's the deal. Most builders right now, I would say, give you anywhere from 6 months to 8 months, but there's always that off chance that you may have to move in either quicker or you move in later. And unfortunately, when it comes with builders, honestly, you truly have no say. They have their contracts locked in pretty much and their timelines can shift. I will say in most cases, they are pretty on point, and most of the time you can gauge it based off of their quarters and when they end, because they will always push those homes to be sold. So if you're set to close before that quarter, you're definitely selling. If it's the beginning of the quarter, they're definitely not as rushed. But they do stay pretty much on track most of the time. However, as far as your end goes, if you need a place to stay, or maybe you need to sell your home before you move here, those timelines truly matter, because renting matters. Are you going to get month to month? What is it going to look like, and what are those fees? So anytime someone is moving here, I always suggest, let's talk your timeline and what are we looking to do and what is the most important to you, because sometimes it makes more sense to sell your home first before you start the process, and we can find a rental that's potentially month to month and we just make it work. But waiting on your home to sell while you're in this timeline of the builder can become very stressful, because there are timelines you have to meet with the builder as well. So again, ask about timelines. What does that look like for you? And plan that out before you think about buying new construction, because it does change. If you want new construction but you don't want to wait 6 months, Right now there are inventory homes. Not every community has inventory homes, but there are some, like in Babcock Ranch, that you can go in, walk in, and close within 60 days. Estero is a little more different, and you're going to most likely be that 6 to 8 month process. Fourth, what does your day-to-day look like? Because honestly, location, as I've always said before, matters. And when you have kids or you have to drive them to school because you chose a different school or you chose private and there's no bus system, then driving matters. Or maybe you work in a different location, and honestly, during season, traffic is way worse. So what is your daily commute? I love, and I actually just did this the other day, I was with buyers who needed to be a certain proximity to the airport. Every neighborhood we went into, we just simply Googled the airport when we were there to see the distance of the airport. And she knew what time she left for work and if the traffic would be heavier or less during those times. So we could kind of gauge it. It is super important only because in Southwest Florida, we do get seasonal traffic. And honestly, the more these communities are growing and the more that we get, obviously people are moving here. So our population is growing and traffic is becoming something bigger every single year, right? So that stuff is something you have to think about when you're going into a community. And as these newer communities build out, as I've said before also, they're starting to build out further and further away from most of your everyday life things like Publix or shopping and dining. So what does your everyday life look like? And are you okay if it's 35 minutes away? Is it worth it when it's 35 minutes away before traffic to pay the $700,000, or would you rather go be in town and not get new construction and be closer? Those are the questions to ask, and it's super important, and it's honestly the biggest mistake I see most buyers make is they just pick the community and they do not think about their daily lifestyle. And the last question, what is being built around the community later? Because as a buyer, you may see preserve views and empty land and think that that might stay. But Southwest Florida development moves very fast, and that land can one day become a shopping center, apartment buildings, another housing development. It could be a road, commercial space. And yes, sometimes that is good because buyers want to be closer to shopping and dining, but most buyers don't want a road to pop up because that means traffic. These are questions that you just want to ask before you buy into the neighborhood so that you know, because it can impact you later. It can impact you in a good way where shopping and dining brings value, or if it's a road, it actually hurts your resale value. So these are things you just want to ask before you move into a community because it will affect your daily life here. At the end of the day, there are a ton of beautiful homes in Southwest Florida, but the community you choose is going to impact your lifestyle more than the home itself. So before you fall in love with the model home, make sure you're thinking about the bigger picture. If you're thinking about making a move to Southwest Florida and new construction is on your radar, I have 2 free resources for you. Located in the description, I have a guide that walks you through buying new construction and gives you a little insight on some of the new and upcoming communities coming to Southwest Florida. If you're looking for more information or you're ready to make that move and you want to hop on a discovery call, the link is in the description as well, and I will walk you through all the questions you may have and talk about what this move looks like and hopefully make it easier for you.